What exactly is a narrative text? Let's start with the basics. A narrative text is a kind of text that tells a story. It can be based on true events, completely made up, or even a mix of both. The main purpose of a narrative text is to entertain and sometimes to inform or teach a moral lesson. A narrative text usually presents a sequence of events that are connected by characters, conflict, and a meaningful resolution. When done right, it pulls the reader into another world, one where they can feel, think, and imagine right alongside the characters. Think of your favorite stories, whether it's Harry Potter, The Lion King, or a childhood tale told by your grandparents. They're all narrative texts. What are the characteristics of narrative text? A narrative text has some distinct features that make it easy to identify. Let's look at them one by one. Past tense. Tell stories in the past to make them feel real and complete. There lived a kind, generous old man. Adverbials of time. Mark when events happen and move the stories forward. Early one morning. Later that day. Descriptive adjectives. Bring people, places, and feelings to life. The brave knight entered the dark, mysterious forest. Noun phrases. Add rich detail and depth to scenes. The calm waters of the lake. One. Using past tenses. Narrative texts are typically written in the past tense because they talk about events that already happened. This helps to give the story a clear sense of time and progression. Example: once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a kind, generous old man. One day, as he was walking through the forest, he stumbled upon a giant squash. Amazed, he inched closer. In this example, you can spot the past tense verbs lived, was walking, stumbled, amazed, and inched. These help place the story in the past and give it a traditional storytelling tone. 2. Using adverbials of time. Adverbials of time are expressions that show when something happened. They're used a lot in narrative texts to help guide the reader through the sequence of events. These could be specific, last week, yesterday morning, in 2001, or more general and story-like, long ago, one day, suddenly, later that evening. Example: early one morning, Sarah decided to go for a jog in the park. As she jogged, the sun began to rise, casting a golden glow over the trees. Later that day, she met her friends for lunch and shared her morning adventure with them. Using time markers like early one morning and later that day helps the reader understand the timeline of the story. Using adjectives. Adjectives help describe nouns. They add detail, emotion, and flavor to the story. They answer questions like, what kind? How many? Which one? Example: the brave knight entered the dark, mysterious forest, ready to face any challenges that lay ahead. In this sentence, the adjectives brave, dark, and mysterious create a vivid image and set the mood. Using noun phrases. A noun phrase is a group of words that acts like a noun and gives more detail about a person, place, or thing. In narrative texts, these make descriptions richer and more engaging. Example: the bright morning sun cast a golden glow on the calm waters of the lake, creating a breathtaking view. Here, the bright morning sun and the calm waters of the lake are both noun phrases that enhance the visual imagery of the scene. What is the purpose and social function of a narrative text? The main purpose of a narrative text is to tell a story in an interesting and engaging way. But it doesn't stop there. Narrative text can also teach moral lessons, like in fables, share personal experiences, preserve cultural traditions and history, entertain readers with creative plots and exciting twists. Narrative texts also serve a social function. They help people connect through shared stories, understand different perspectives, and learn about values and traditions from different cultures. So, what does the structure of a narrative text look like? Narrative texts have a clear and familiar structure. Understanding this structure can help you read, analyze, or write a great story. 1. Orientation. Set the stage for who, where, when. Characters, time, and place are introduced. 2. Complication. Here come the problem. Conflict arises, tension builds. 3. Resolution. Characters respond, things change. 4. Reorientation or evaluation, it is optional. What did we learn from the story? Number 1. Orientation. The orientation sets the stage for the story. This is where the characters, setting, time and place, and background information are introduced. When reading the orientation, we should be able to answer who was involved in the story. Where and when does the story take place? Number 2. Complication. This is where the story starts to get interesting. The complication introduces the problem or conflict. It's what makes the story exciting and gives the characters a challenge to overcome. This part usually includes rising action, tension builds as the problem grows, climax, the peak or most dramatic part, and falling action. The problem begins to resolve. Number 3. Resolution. In this part, the problem or conflict is solved. The resolution shows how the characters respond to the situation and what happens as a result. Sometimes the resolution may be happy, other times it might be sad or even open-ended. Number 4. Reorientation, evaluation, optional. This is an additional but helpful part that reflects on the story. It might explain the lesson, theme, or moral of the story. Think of it like the author stepping in to say, and here's why that mattered. Not all narrative texts include this section, but when they do, it helps reinforce the message or takeaway. Types of narrative texts. Narrative texts come in many forms. Here are some common types you'll likely encounter. 1. Fictional narrative. These are imaginary stories, often created purely for entertainment. They can be fairy tales, fables, fantasy, or adventure stories. 2. Autobiography. An autobiography is a narrative written by a person about their own life from a first-person perspective. 3. Biography. A biography is a narrative about someone else's life written by another person. 4. Memoir. A memoir is similar to an autobiography but focuses on specific moments or experiences in a person's life. 5. Legend. A legend is a traditional story passed down through generations. It often contains elements of truth mixed with imagination and explains cultural origins or heroic deeds.